at the time of filming this, that TikTok is at 1.1 million views.
Why did it get so many views?
That's what we're going to talk about today.
You want me to just play the TikTok right here?
Play it.
All right.
If you want to heal your nervous system, you're going to have to stop moving like the house is on fire. Right now I'm making shepherd's pie. I've got jazz music on. And even still, I have to consciously remind myself to drop my shoulders, relax my jaw, and move slower. There's no race to get dinner done. I think it's not talked about enough that we have to create an environment that's conducive to healing. And when we're constantly moving super quickly and we're overstimulated and we're running super quickly for no reason, we are signaling danger to our brain. We are telling our brain, hey, you need to stay on high alert. Keep bracing, keep sending danger signals, keep sending pain signals, keep sending me anxiety, keep sending me insomnia, because we need to stay alert. There is an active threat in our environment. This is such a simple shift.
Why did it get so many views?
That's what we're going to talk about today. And you know, when one of your videos goes viral, like a lot of the time as soon as it hits over 100,000, you're getting comments where like, where did we find these people? Where did they come from? Not on this one. I'm telling you, like every comment was relating to it, realizing that until I told them to drop their shoulders, unclench their jaw, they realized that they were bracing.
Yeah.
It's kind of side story, but I was coloring the other week and I texted Ryan and I just would realize my shoulders would be to my ears and so tight, and I'd be coloring, like clenching and then being like, Maggie, and I'd relax. 42 seconds later, back again.
Yeah.
So we are all living in this chronic state of bracing, which is very common in nervous system
My jaw is never
dysregulation.
relaxed.
Yeah. If
Never.
I watch you while you're working, I can see you clenching your jaw.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because one of the things people brought up was like clenching their butthole too, right? These things that they're doing that they don't realize, like we're breathing really shallowly. We are tense. Like it's not just like my shoulders being up. Like I realized when I was driving, my thighs were contracted, the muscles. Like I constantly find myself in times where I have to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that muscle was. So all that to say, we are walking around and our body, our physiology is bracing for impact.
Why?
Well, let's get into it. So most people, I don't think, realize that they're doing this. I found it very interesting that there were so many people that were like, I didn't even realize this until you said it, until you told me to relax. And what happens is high alert, that state of bracing actually becomes your new baseline. That's like what's completely normal for you. It's actually abnormal for you to be relaxed. Like my body, as soon as I try to relax, my body's like, I got this. And it's happening automatically. The big question and a comment that came in over and over and over is like, why are we like this?
Yeah.
How did this happen? Why are we all collectively gathering in this post right now to see that thousands and thousands of people are saying, I am in this state all the time? So let's talk about a couple of those reasons. One of them is childhood conditioning. Just this energy of you need to move fast, you need to be perfect, you need to not make mistakes, and you need to make sure you're not upsetting anyone. I think this is the biggest reason.
Like just households are just like kind of high stress.
Households are high stress. Parents are fried. Tempers are short. Anger is high. Reactions, yelling, screaming. I have many, many memories of like that. I felt like if my mom asked me to go find something, I felt like we were on a ticking time clock. Like
Really?
There was nothing worse than being asked to go find a pen, to go ask to be found some tape for a Christmas present or a birthday present. Terrified, right? So not good. But when a lot of us either had parents who exploded or parents who were passive aggressive. So it's normally in one of those categories. Either way, whether they let the emotions come out or not, the whole household was feeling it.
Yeah.
And so we lived in a state of hypervigilance. I know I did. Like in this state of you don't want to upset anybody, you need to move fast, you need to be productive, and there was a lot of that kind of messaging. And we watched our parents do it. They ran around like chickens with their heads cut off, just rushing from thing to thing. And they were always so stressed out and always seemed like they were doing too much and they had taken on too much. And there were too many kids and too much stress. And
Well, especially in the high demand religion we were raised in.
Yes.
It was just a byproduct.
It was like everybody's having 5+ kids.
Yeah.
Everyone's got these church callings. They're super busy. At that time, most of the time, the dad was working out of the house. The mom was left with all the kids. And trust me, if I had 5 kids, I'd go crazy too, right? Like it is hard. But that's where I think it ideally comes. Like, not only did we have to be on our toes and be hypervigilant, but we also saw it modeled for us.
Yeah.
It was just like, it felt like our parents were never relaxed, ever. There was always stress about something, and it was constantly feeling that. And that feeling, I know so many people are going to relate to this. That's why I'm like explicitly talking about it. That feeling of like, you hear the rage cleaning and you're just like,
I should be doing something.
Yeah, like I can't sit down. Like I've got to, like it's just, and that energy like went into our tissue and into our fascia and into our bodies that have become this permanent state of like, don't sit down, don't relax, don't slow down, don't take a break, don't get back in bed, I like explicitly received those messages growing up. Okay. The second thing would be like survival periods that never technically ended. And when I say didn't end, I mean like they did end, but your nervous system never got the message. So for those of you who have been diagnosed with something like CPTSD, trauma type stuff like that, where it's like you had like ongoing trauma and ongoing dysregulation, and then maybe it ended. You're not in danger anymore. No one's going to hit you. No one's going to abuse you. None of that. But your nervous system is like, nah, that was kind of like our base wiring. And so it just has continued on to all of a sudden you're 36 years old and you're like, oh, I'm safe now. I'm not in that position, but now we have to untrain it in our bodies because it never got clicked off. In fact, it got turned on for your survival, for your protection. And it was like no one ever turned off the switch. Your body never got the message, hey, you're safe now. You can relax. We don't need to be bracing. We don't need to be ready to run or hide or fight or yell or scream. You're good. So unfortunately, a lot of us are teaching ourselves that now. The third one is that urgency just becomes a habit, like almost an addiction.
Yeah.
And almost like a badge of honor. Like I work with so many clients who are these high achievers. And one client specifically comes to mind where she's like, I can't even walk up the stairs without grabbing something if there's something there because I need to be productive with my time. I need to be moving. If I can be getting 4 things done at once, then I'm like excelling. I used to feel that way when I would be cooking. I used to say I really enjoyed cooking very quickly while cleaning because I never slowed down. It was just like, and to me, it felt like my body was catching up with my brain. I'm like, oh, this feels good because I'm cooking and I'm cleaning and I'm doing 2 things at once and it's going so fast and dinner's ready and the house is clean. It just matched what the inside felt like, but it felt productive to me. There were so many comments on this post that were like, people were jokingly telling me they were frustrated with me because of how slowly I was peeling the potatoes. Someone was like, you sit down, you can talk, I'm going to peel those potatoes for you because like I'm putting this on 2x. I'm trying to speed this up. You're making me nervous with how slow you're going. So it's not just how we are going, it's our interpretation of other people moving at a slow rate. And what does that mean? Why do we need to get our content in 2x speed? Why do we need to get it so quickly? What do you have going on next? What do you have after this? So pay attention to if urgency really has just become a habit and it matches your underlying motor of stress and it feels so natural to you because you don't know how to rest and you don't know how to sit down and you don't know how to slow down. You don't know anything other than adrenaline, cortisol fueled fight or flight behavior. And then the last one is like, it's not something that we are choosing. The body is choosing it for us. It feels safer. It does. It feels like this is keeping me safe. If I move quickly, I'm safer. And we'll get into why this is a problem because it is. But it is kind of like a paradox because a lot of people in the comments said, I'm rushing so that I can lay down. I'm
Yeah.
rushing so that I can finish it.
Yeah.
But that keeps you from actually fully resting. It's not a balanced way of realizing, is there really a rush here? Is there really a race to get dinner done? Which plenty of people told me, yes, there is. I have toddlers. I have kids. Okay. Dinner is going to take as long as it takes. And we have to get a lot better at orienting to our environment and saying, is there an actual threat here? Because you're moving like there is. When you're moving quickly, you are signaling that we're running from something. And another thing that I find working with clients a lot is they have two modes. I've literally had these exact coaching scenarios where you are either fully on or you are collapsing. That is not a good way to live. I have literally talked to clients who are like, I literally passed out on my couch, like horizontal. And I'm like, that is so far beyond the time when you need to rest. We are so far past I guarantee your body has been screaming in some way. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's anxiety. I don't know if it's migraines. I don't know if it's pain. I don't know if it's fatigue, but I guarantee your body was giving you so many signs and you missed them. You missed them because you were very well-versed in practicing ignoring your body. And that's what we're kind of trying to fix here. I know your body feels scary. I know it feels scary when you're dysregulated and you want to heal, but we need to start getting back in touch with our body and listening to the messages it's giving. So you aren't like, I'm either going 150 miles an hour or I am collapsed. I can't move. I'm canceling plans and saying no because I can't get up.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And over time, it's a really, really big problem. And then the last thing here, as far as this paradox is concerned, is that slowing down is going to feel more stressful at first. It's not going to feel juicy. When I start working with people on relaxation and rest and recuperating, they do not like it.
It feels unsafe.
It feels unsafe because if your brain is perceiving that we need to move quickly because there's a threat, what do you think your brain is going to perceive when you slow down? Hello, we're going to get got. We are in danger now. Slowing down means something can catch us.
Can you explain why our brains are interpreting it as a threat? Because there's clearly, obviously not a threat if I'm just cooking dinner. You know what I mean? I get confused there because like
a lot of this has more to do with the perpetual state that we've been in. I hesitate ever saying things like your nervous system is misfiring or misfunctioning because it really isn't. It's misreading the room though. And when we are moving super quickly, we are perpetuating that. Our brain is already like, you need to get things done quick and you need to hurry up. And we don't really even know why we're doing that. And then we move really quickly and we look like the Tasmanian devil running through our house, which further signifies to our brain, you're right. We do need to stay on alert. We do need to move really quickly. So we are so innocently reinforcing things that we don't want to be reinforcing. So it's like, obviously there's no threat, but for all of you who relate to this experience that I have had where you literally, I remember times where I'd be laying in bed with you and we'd be watching a show and I'd be like, look, you are so safe. You are here with your husband and he loves you so much. And we are watching a show. Like, I remember times when I was in therapy and I was like, I'm just trying to like look at my life and be like, we are fine. Stop. Why am I panicking right now? It didn't work. It didn't work. You really have to start showing yourself in a different way. Which we'll obviously talk about. But for those of you who are like, I've tried to just like tell my brain, like, look, you are in a safe room. You are just recording a podcast and you are not in danger. And that's where we get into more, you want to tell your nervous system you want to show your nervous system versus telling it. So just to kind of review what this looks like in the body, you may notice that your shoulders are at your ears. Your jaw has been clenched since childhood. One of a very popular comment said, my shoulders have been to my ears since I was 10.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us can relate to that. And then moving really quickly and your body is just kind of taking all the hits. And you'll start noticing, a drop in your energy, more fatigue, just this utter exhaustion. So many people are so exhausted by the end of the day. And what I want to talk a lot more about is the energy currency that we have, both with the way we move, but the way we think as well. And the way that we are draining all of this energy that we have because our motor is constantly, like you've described it, like idling, right? It would still be wasting the gas if the car is on. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're doing all day. So it's possible for these types of things to ripple into your relationships. Getting triggered by people who move more slowly. And this is very important for you guys if you are parents, rushing your kids, partners, and even strangers. We have I have to be so mindful of this. We do have 2 kids, despite everyone thinking I must not have kids because I'm able to focus on this. We do have kids. We have to be very careful not to push that same urgency on them. I don't know if you guys remember getting... Put on your shoes. We got to go. You need to get ready. Those kind of things that your kid's nervous system will take that on. It's just a way we have to be responsible, even though it's really challenging.
It's hard.
It's very hard because dysregulation can spread through a household, unfortunately. And everyone has to kind of like take responsibility for their own. We are very upfront with our kids about overstimulation. I have been having lots of conversations like that with my kids because I don't want them to take the brunt of my dysregulation and my overstimulation. It's like, but I'm so grateful for my awareness of it now because I used to have an audiobook or a podcast on at 2x speed, be cooking dinner, and then be so frustrated with my kid who had a question.
Yeah.
Realizing that I was just pushing my system to the absolute extreme. And then they were taking the brunt of my frustration when it was like, take your AirPods out and like, or ask your kids for some space while you finish dinner. These are things that we are actively contributing to the dysregulation. So, so something that I just kind of touched on is the 2x videos, doing things on 2x speed. I'm so guilty of this. But it's another way. I want you guys to see both running around like the house is on fire with the way that you're moving, but also running around like the house is on fire in your brain. And one of the main ways that we do that is watching videos at 2x speed, listening to things on 2x speed, brushing our teeth super fast, watching YouTube while we brush our teeth, eating standing up.
Yeah.
Where we just finished and it's like,
bro,
you have to be so mindful because it feels like where are we? What do you have next here? What's next on the schedule? Normally nothing. Yeah.
Why can't you sit down?
Because the baseline is just too high. The baseline level is running at like a level 10 and we don't realize it. And then we wonder why we're so tired and why we just like knock out on the couch. It's because the things that you did, many of them can be done at a slower pace that aren't stressing you out further so that you actually have energy after you're done with these tasks. It isn't easy to run a household and raise kids and deal with homework and deal with your own work and deal with everything that a household needs. But a lot of it, we can reduce the general overstimulation and we can remind ourselves. Keep in mind that there is a layer to this that has to do with avoidance because staying in constant motion is a way of emotional numbing. I'm very big on living your life, staying engaged with things, and yet I also have clients that say, got it. I will load my schedule up. I'll just stay super busy. So it's finding the balance between engaging with your life and also staying so busy that you never have a chance to be still and be with your emotions. So that's another reason why I think people run around like crazy. It's a good avoidance. If you can never sit down, if you can never rest, if there's always something else and you're always bubbling over with stress, you don't even have time to get to what you're feeling, how you're feeling, allowing, accepting, any of that stuff.
Someone in the comments said, if I slowed down, then I would have to stop and feel my feelings.
I know, and I responded, precisely. That's literally the whole point. But here's the problem that you will also see if you go to the comments of this video. Many people did not slow down. And I got bad news for you because life slowed them down. So many people were like, no, I'm just going to keep going. I'm like, and you can do that. But I promise you, in time, something will slow you down. And it's normally not on your time frame, not what you would choose. And it is the cost of not listening to your body, overriding every feeling, overriding every cue from your body. We have body cues, we have hunger cues, we have rest cues, we have need for connection cues. We have all of that built in. And most of us are just like, nope, I'm just going to stay busy, busy, busy. So that the goal is that we do slow things down so that we can see what is, so that we can be with what is, so that it can move through us because it's not going anywhere. It's not being gone because you don't see it. It's being stored and it's slowly building up your stress bucket. And then once it starts once it starts filling up and filling over, then we start seeing physical symptoms. Then the body starts talking. And I promise you, by the time your body starts talking, you are so far past where you could have heard. The signs have been coming for years at that point. So you can definitely expect to be having these evening collapses when you are just like gritting your teeth all day long and moving 100 miles an hour. So a big thing that came up was making this work in real life. And real life is going to look different for lots of people. A lot of it had to do with single parenthood. It had to do with demanding jobs, 9-to-5s, constraints. And this has kind of been my whole take on this across the board with any concerns that people have, is just like, or you can find out the truth of what your capacity is and what you're capable of doing. And we all have different capacities, different responsibilities, different levels of things. And as you start to regulate, sometimes there are things in your life that become apparent that is like, I need to make some changes for sure. But before that comes, what am I able to do here? So if you are a single parent and it's like, oh, my kids are climbing all over me, is there anything that you can do about that? So it's just about knowing, like, what do you have the capacity to change? Because here's what I've found. I've been a coach for a long time. I've been a coach for 6 years, right? I've talked to a lot of people. Please make sure you're not justifying or excusing your way out of change. And I say that with complete compassion for whatever you have going on in your life. People go through hard stuff. People get divorced. People become single parents. We have loss. We have grief. We have limited time in the day. There are all different things that contribute to your life and what you have the capacity for in that moment. And be aware of the ways where your brain goes, well, I can't do that because of this. Because you may be avoiding piece that you could bring into your life because your brain goes, I don't have the space for that. I don't have the time for that. My life is too crazy. My situation is too unique. I'm too different. It's too hard for me. And all of those things are valid if you believe them. And I'm not going to ever argue like whose situation is worse than this hard. Some things are just challenging and we have to decide if it's worth the work, if the juice is worth the squeeze there. There were lots of changes I had to make in my life around my job, my workflow, my boundaries, my requests to people, asking for what I need instead of being a people pleaser. There are changes that need to be made sometimes. But for now, look at your life exactly the way it is and ask yourself, are there places here where I'm adding to the overstimulation, where I could take even 5 minutes to kind of recenter myself before I start the nighttime routine? There are most likely places where you could help to turn the temperature down on this a little bit.
A lot of people in the comments said, yeah, tell that to my kids.
Yeah.
And we have 2 kids, 6 and 10 years old. And we have several times sat them down and explained to them what overstimulation means, how it's caused, and how when we tell them we are overstimulated, what we need from them.
Mm-hmm. And then someone will be like, well, your kids are older and my kids are twin 2-year-olds. Yes. And what we're saying is, you know what is available to you right now. And here's the biggest issue. When you see that there are justifications and excuses and reasons why you can't do it, you won't find solutions. I can guarantee you that. I've seen it again and again and again. When your default is, that won't work for me, I can assure you with 100% certainty it will not. It won't work because you're not in a solution finding reality. You're in a problem finding reality. You're looking for the reasons why it won't work, why it won't help, why it's not possible. That is all you will find. So if it is worth it to you to start regulating, you have to start looking at your environment and the way that it contributes. So number 1, look at what you can do. Look at what your capacity is. Number 2, be aware that sometimes you get some bad news. And the bad news is, I cannot work this job anymore. I can't do it. I need to find a new job, which then again puts you into the reality of job finding. I have to have this conversation with my spouse. I need some more help. I need to tell him that I need him to step up in this way. Okay. But it requires that you do stuff. And I have found that a lot of the time people don't want to do stuff. And there's no judgment there. I think it's when you are at your max capacity with your nervous system, everything feels like too much work. And that's one of the hardest things to overcome in this process, is saying, yeah, it is going to be hard. Yep, it's going to push you. Yes, it's going to require energy you don't even have. Sorry, there's no way around that. It's going to hurt. It's going to be hard. The quicker you get cozy with that reality, the better. So no, you might not be able to slow your schedule, but you do have control at slowing your internal state. I know you don't feel like you do, but when you say that, you're giving your external reality the ability to control your internal state. And your internal state is going to be driven by your perception, by your nervous system, by your feelings. But you have more control over that than you think. We can't give the responsibility of that to our kids and our jobs and our bosses. You always have the ability to lean into the micro moments. The moments where you're like, oh, I've been breathing from the bottom of my neck all day. I'm going to start breathing from my diaphragm. I am going to unclench my jaw. I am going to unclench my butt cheeks. Okay. I am going to soften my belly. I'm going to just relax. Okay. That is something that you can do. I don't care if your kids are screaming. My kids were literally, I almost didn't post that video because my kids were literally screaming and wrestling upstairs. I thought you could hear it. You didn't end up being able to hear it in this video, but I get it. I know what the overstimulation was. Having small babies nearly took me out. It was so overstimulating. So I get it. It is hard. And when you look for ways it won't work, you're going to find them. And when you look for little things you can change, you will also find those. So the biggest question everyone asked was, how do I stop this? How do I turn it off? And the answer is the same answer to anything that you want to change, which is you interrupt the pattern gently and repeatedly, over and over and over again. You notice and you notice and you notice and you change and you change and you change until you have a new baseline and you realize, oh my gosh, I don't think I've been holding my breath. Oh my gosh, I haven't really had to let my shoulders down. I'm sitting here and I'm feeling relaxed, you know? You want to catch yourself in the middle of the rush and you need to intentionally slow yourself down, even by 10%. You don't need to just start moving in slow motion, but realizing when you're rushing and gentle reminders that don't need to be constant self-reassurance, but just like, there's no rush here. It's fine. There's no race. Try to talk to yourself the same way you would talk to someone else you were kind of trying to calm down. Again, not in a self-reassurance way, not in a like, you're fine, it's fine, you're safe. Not like that. Just reminders. There's no rush here. Your body and your nervous system, they're not going to slow down because you think that they should or because you tell them that they should. Things are only going to slow down when you create enough safety to do that. So it's not just about like, you need to slow down, everything's fine. That's very cognitively based. We want to get into the body and show the body that it's safe to slow down. And when we do, a tiger doesn't eat us.
Through repetition too.
Through repetition over and over again. It's like when I was coloring, I had to remind myself every 40 seconds. And I want to also invite, you guys are going to have a tendency to want to shame yourself. The question that will come up is, what's wrong with me? Which did come up a little bit. When I first noticed it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. But this is a gentle invitation to invite curiosity in. Like, oh, isn't that so interesting? I'm coloring and my body still, especially these activities that I do that are related more to like childlike wonder and awe, where you should be able to just relax and color. It should be mindless, but my body is saying, no, I'm sensing a threat here. There is no threat. So it's my job to say, hey, like I got you. Like we'll wiggle it out. We're okay. Oh, I noticed your ear. Okay, we're just going to put those back down again. Oh, look at that. It looks like they made their way up again to those ears. We're just going to take a couple deep breaths. We're going to hold the crayon or whatever it is you're using. We're going to hold it a little bit looser. These are all things where I am somatically signaling, hey, you're good. We can relax. And remember, there's always these timeline expectations that people have. And I want you to remember in all of this that it took years to build this pattern. Years. It's not going to be undone with one podcast. It's not going to be undone with 2 times of interrupting. It is going to be undone with noticing, awareness, curiosity, changing, and repeating over and over and over and over again. It is more unlearning than it is learning. And that's going to be a lot of this process. You're going to feel like you're learning new tools, but the truth is that you're unlearning the patterns that you took on in childhood. You're unlearning the patterns you took on during a time of very heavy stress. We're remembering what it's like to be carefree, to be calm, to be safe. And also, if you never felt that, I relate to that. I often talk about how like for me, I'm learning something completely new, so it can go either way. I'm not trying to get back to a place where I felt safe because I never did my entire childhood. So also patience for those of you who are like, I don't even know what I'm working towards because I'm not getting back to a point when things were fine before things got messed up. I don't even know what it's like to be authentically me, to be calm, to feel safe. So there's that caveat as well. It does shift, but it's not a one and done quick fix. You guys have to be patient with yourselves. Like in a way, it really is a reparenting that requires a gentleness and a curiosity and patience. The type of patience you have to have with a small child who's learning to walk, where you're just like, you're never like, get up, dumbass. Like, no, you're gentle and you're like, this is part of it. You fall on your butt. That's what you do over and over. You fall on your butt till you don't fall on your butt anymore. That is this process of unlearning and rewiring and getting back or getting to a place where you can feel safe. So, yeah, this isn't a personality issue. It's not a brokenness issue. It's not a thing that's unfixable. It's just a pattern. A lot of it is subconscious. It's habitual. It's automatic. As you can see, it's clearly doing what it's doing behind your awareness. But as with every pattern that you have, patterns can be interrupted. And that is neuroplasticity. That is change. That is a new experience. It happens when you notice and you go, oh, look at those shoulders. Just be careful not to react with the things we talk about on this podcast all the time. The frustration, the impatience, the fear, the annoyance. That kind of stuff is unhelpful for rewiring to something new. It actually reinforces a lot. Something we didn't talk about that I just want to brush on really quick is that when you are living from this state, you are signaling danger to your brain. Okay. So I like to sell people on, why is it worth your time to change this? It is worth it for you to interrupt this pattern because when you invite in the slowness and the like, I can even enjoy this. I can even enjoy cooking dinner. I can enjoy taking this time. This can be joyful. It can feel peaceful. You are signaling safety to your brain and to your nervous system. It helps to create a new baseline. It helps to create a new experience. But it's so important to me that everyone understands the mechanics of how your nervous system gets dysregulated, what keeps it dysregulated, and what ultimately gets it back to a regulated place. And remember, regulation doesn't mean calm all the time. A nervous system that's working robustly means that you can have these micro threats or even macro threats. Your system can respond and then come back down. That's the goal that we have. I want resilience for you. It's not calm. So you shouldn't be calm all the time. We just want to work with the tools that help to show safety and rewire those loops in the brain that have us, without our knowledge, clenching our jaw, having our shoulders to our ears, breathing very shallowly, and running around the house when we do anything. Yeah. It's signaling the wrong thing to your brain. You slowing down might initially be a little bit of a shock to the system just because it's not used to it, but it's your job to start showing your nervous system it is safe to downshift. Okay?
All right.
Any announcements? Nope. No, not that I can think of either. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.